Okay, guys, welcome to this podcast interview with Emilio about emotional intelligence and how you, as a student, handle emotional intelligence and how do you develop and what are your struggles. I'm gonna start this interview with a couple of questions for all of you, and the first question is: how do you handle emotional intelligence as an international student? So you are in a country that is not your country, you are away from your family, and you are doing a career in another language that is not your primary language. How do you guys do that?
Well, for me, I'm Elvin, by the way. For me, I think like I handle emotional intelligence as like I don't know. For me, it's a process, something that it comes like as I study, as I don't know, put time into my assignments. It's stressful to make like I don't know. It's a whole list of assignments that you need to get done before the weekend. But I feel as I don't know, sit down, focus, and like get locked in, and just doing assignments, just making sure that that's taken care of, and then I do things that I don't know are more enjoyable for me. But I know that that's a responsibility because I'm paying for school, so that's why like that's something that calls me down. You know, like I'm paying for this, I better do my very best to get every single drop of knowledge I can get.
Sorry. Yeah, I kind of agree a little bit with him. I feel like what I struggle in the most is definitely organizing my time. Sometimes the language barrier, it's an issue because since we grew up speaking Spanish and doing assignments in Spanish. A lot of the essays or everything that's written, I tend to write it first in Spanish and then have to translate it, and then sometimes it's not translated properly, so you have to like change certain things. But yeah, I feel like that and the workload, it's a little bit what causes me the most stress. It's being able to organize my time and make sure that I finish them in the deadline that's given to me.
Yeah. Well, I think for me it's a little different because I'm not emotionally intelligent like in my life. I let emotions take the best from me, and I don't really think before I take an action. Sometimes this happens to me when in school. Like I let the stress of assignments get in between of me, and I tend to get overwhelmed with things. So like if I'm really stressed with an assignment and somebody talks to me, it's like, oh my god, shut up. Come back later. I'm doing this. Like I let it take the best of me, and a lot of times people think, oh, I'm rude or stuff, but it's just I'm just stressed. I'm not rude, and it just happens not only like in assignments and like class. Like I'm stressed all the time, and I haven't found like a successful way to manage my emotions. So I wouldn't say I'm really like emotionally intelligent.
Okay, and why do you guys think we struggle with emotional intelligence? What do you think is the main reason?
For me, it has a lot to do with the environment and the relationships that you build. I don't have a lot of friends. I mean, I'm always, if you see me around in the hallways, I'm always with my boyfriend or with Jenny. So the not being able to like make friends or have people that I can like have conversations with or change thoughts makes it really hard to acknowledge like what's wrong within you or within myself.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. I feel like coming back from the Dominican Republic, it's just you're used to having people there that would help you. Like you have a friend group that will do the homeworks with you, especially because you do all the classes with the same people. So come in here and you're completely alone, and you have to like manage things alone. You have to learn alone. It's hard to just build up from there.
Yeah, I also feel like just like you have to like get surrounded by like people that have your same interest. You have to like be able to share things in common. And that's like what leads to like emotional intelligence. The like how like I kind of get let stress get out of my I don't know, my behaviors, my persona in general. Just the way I do it, the way I let go of stress has a lot to do with like the type of friends I have, my family members, how I was taught back at home, how my parents raised me. All that, it's a big aspect of how I have developed emotional intelligence.
Yeah, I think in my case, when we are done in school or with our parents, they don't teach us how to use our emotion. Most of the time, we don't know how to react. I was talking with a friend earlier today, and we talk about this. When we're in the school and our parents, they don't teach you how. When we are crying, they just say, "Oh, don't cry." And that's not a solution. That will make the problem go away. So, and that's why we grew up like, and we don't have idea how to handle our emotion. And the way we have to do is by learning, surround with people who has high emotional intelligence. And there is a book called Emotional Intelligence by Daniel Coleman. This is a good book that can teach us how our emotion works and how we can handle them. But what do you guys think is your strongest emotion? The emotion that you have. You say, "Oh, I have a more emotional intelligence on that emotion."
I would say for me, honestly, it's sadness. I feel like that's the emotion that honestly kind of rules whatever I do. It's hard for me just to balance everything around it. I feel like even though I don't get offended easily, I still feel bad easily for things that happen to me or for bad things that happen around people around me. Especially here in school with assignments and everything that we have to do. Sometimes I'm feeling overwhelmed. And instead of being like, "Oh, I can do it," I kind of discourage myself and just bring myself down saying like, "Oh, I'm failing classes. Like this, what I'm doing, it's not enough." So because I never learned from anyone that it's okay to just like, you're not doing the great on everything, but you're doing good in a couple things. I am conscious about that, but I'm not emotionally mature enough to allow myself to feel like it's okay the fact that I'm not doing my best on everything. So I feel like I tend to just get sad and cry about it, or just be like, I can't do it. Like all I'm doing is failing. Everything I'm doing, nothing's working out. Instead of pushing myself to like grow on it and just keep going, which I feel like that's why that is the emotion that rules most of the things that I do.
Yeah, I feel like, I don't know, for me personally, I feel like, I don't know, empathy will be something that will kind of describe me. I've developed emotional intelligence towards like empathy to others. Like I'm always like self-aware and aware of like others people's feelings and how, I don't know, if somebody's passing by, I make sure I'm not in the way so that they can just walk by. I'm aware of people, aware of like, I don't know, where I'm at. If I'm bothering someone, if I'm helping them, if I'm making things like worse for someone, I try to like be aware of like not being in the way of anybody, because like being honest, I know that our lives are very hard enough for somebody to make it worse. And I feel like, I don't know, that's something that kind of describes me and kind of like brings me joy to know, like, even though many people, I don't know, will like kind of don't even care about people, they'll stand in the way, don't even care about like other people, like, I don't know, feelings or anything. It brings me joy to know, like, I don't know, that I kind of care. I can make someone else life a little easier just by just doing simple things, just moving out of the way, just moving things so somebody's more comfortable. That's something that kind of like makes me happy.
Yeah, I definitely agree with both of you, and I think something that also affects is, at least in me, it's the weather. Like if the weather, if it's cold, I'm always gonna be in a mood, and that's gonna affect the people around me and how I refer to people and how I react to things. Whereas like during spring or summer, I'm usually more like joyful or like happier. But I also agree with what he was saying. I can see empathy in me, and I can feel empathy for others. And this like brought me back to a time, like, you know, us as Dominicans we go to New York a lot. And I remember I was there, I was on the train, and I looked around and I was like, wow, I can tell who's a tourist here and who's not, because every time you go and you're taking the stairs, you need to be on the right side, because people that are coming down are going down on the right side. So when people are going up on the left side, like, I don't know, to me that just triggers me, because you're gonna bump into people all the time. Like, if you're not organized, like if you know somebody's coming down this way, why are you in the middle? Like, why can't you just go on the next bit? And here, like in the elevator, why did you put yourself in front of the elevator? What if somebody's gonna go out? Like, are you just gonna bump into them? So those things triggered me a lot. Or people that take the elevator just to go to the second floor.
But I want to add to something that she said. It's that it's not only that it triggers you, it's that it's your routine. That's what you understand, that that it's the unspoken rules that are set. And I feel like that does like measure the way that we emotionally react to things. If there's unspoken rules that we feel like we know, whenever there's someone coming like from a different place and they do those, like they don't do those unspoken rules here, you feel triggered, you feel like there's something wrong. And I feel like that happens to us a lot, international students coming here to the States. I personally am really loud. Like, I know I'm really loud, I'm conscious about it, but it's like I don't know how not to be. So there's a lot of times where I'm just talking in public places with friends and everyone's like, bro, you're being like a little too loud. And I'm like, I cannot speak lower than this. Like, I physically cannot.
You're like, I'm being myself.
Yeah. So it's like, when you go to places where you're like, oh, like, for example, here in the States, people are usually very conscious, like, of the voice level that they have or the way they speak to other people. Coming here, it was always like, oh, like, I really need to turn it down a notch. Like, why is everyone so quiet? That's kind of awkward. But it's because that's an unspoken rule that I didn't know of when I came here.
Okay, thank you so much. In my case, the emotion I like to work the most on is like angry, because when I was a kid, man, you see something that you don't like, they just teach you just hold it, and at the end you like kind of explode. And when we are upset, the decision that we take, they are not the best decision, and sometimes we feel bad after. But a good emotion that I have is positivity. So and happiness. I'm like to be always positive and happy to help others. So, well, thank you so much for being in this interview with me. Do you guys have any advice for any other students, how they can handle their emotions?
I'll give the best advice that can never be been given. Take one step at a time, one assignment at a time. That's all you gotta do. Just take your time, one assignment at a time. We'll get you there. We'll get your assignments done by the weekend. Just don't let that take over you. Just work on one assignment at a time.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.